So what we're going to take a look at now is setting up a website in Dreamweaver CS5. Okay, so we begin and we launch Dreamweaver. So I'm sure everyone knows how to launch a program. But so we started up Dreamweaver, and this is what we get. We can see this screen here in Adobe. When you open up one of its products, usually gives you this welcome screen. So, but what we want to do is begin with, we always want to really set up our site. Now, what I did first was on my computer, and really you can put this anywhere on your computer. It just has to be somewhere where you can remember where it's going to be. I started a new folder named, well actually the folder was already on my Mac, Sites, and I just named this Web Design. Now you can see in my Sites folder I have all of these different websites that I've worked on. So this one is Web Design. Okay, now what I'm going to do after I create this folder, I'm going to go back into Dreamweaver and I'm going to come to Site, New Site. I'm going to create a new site. I'm going to name this site Web Design. You can name it whatever you want to. Again, you need to make sure that you're going to keep this straight in your head. Okay, and I'm going to click right here, and now I'm going to come down. I'm going to find that folder. I'm going to hit choose. Okay, I'm going to save this. Okay, and what I have right here is this Web Design folder. Now, this is very important that we do this, because when we go and we make our websites go live, what we'll do is we'll upload all of the information from this folder to our server, to our server. And a website, really what it is, it runs through HTML, through code, right? Through HTML, CSS. And what we need to make sure is that we have all of its components in this folder when we upload it, because the images that we see on the web are all linked. So there we have it. Now let's create a new file. We come to File, New, and I'm going to do a blank HTML page. Okay, I'm not going to do, we could, if we wanted to, we could say we want a column. Okay, there are these built-in layouts, but let's just begin. We could do a 3-column liquid layout. And in the videos, I'll go over how to create your own liquid layout. Take a look at somewhere in my videos for how to create your own liquid layout. But you could also start with a liquid layout here. Now, and again, look at my videos for more on a liquid layout. But we're going to do none. We're going to hit create. And here we have our page. Now, let's just take an overview of what this workspace looks like. To begin with, we come to our title. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to name my title. And I'm going to name it Web Design Homepage. Okay, so there we have it. Now, when we come to our split, let's actually look at the code. Okay, it is important. There's a couple different ways we could look at. If we were complete computer programmers, we could work completely in the code view. Okay, now what we can see here, and this is our first look at code, our website is divided into a couple parts. We begin with the head. First of all, we begin with the document type. Okay, and this is HTML, XHTML, okay, and we see this reference to W3C. And we come down and we have the head. We have the meta tags, the title. Now let's focus in. Everything that we see in the head, we actually do not see on the page. Now, the only place where we see this, okay, will be when we view the page. We'll see the title. I'm going to show you that in 1 minute. Now, everything that's in the body, okay, I'm going to click right here. This is the body of my page. Okay, we will see in here. So you could see that we could write it right in here or right in there. Now let's just preview this in the web. I'm going to save this file, save as. Now your home page should always be titled index. It should always be titled index. What happens, what the web does when a web is doing your search for your site, it will always launch index page. Okay, so we want to hit save. This is my home page. I'm going to make it my index. And now I'm going to come in and I'm going to preview this in Firefox, and this is what I see. Here's my page, and I can see web design homepage. Okay. Lesson, oh, that's not what I want to see. All right, this is actually my YouTube page. This is another video. And you can see that it has right there, and then this is what I have put here. Okay, a little bit more looking at what is in Dreamweaver. We took a little overview of code. We're working with HTML. Now what we'll find with HTML2 is that this will always have an opening tag and a closing tag. Now let's change this around a little bit. We could use, and there's a whole list of HTML. We could actually turn, and as we go to start to look, and we start writing right here, we're going to find that it's going to help us, and it's going to tell us what we want. So we're going to do heading 1. Okay, now I'm going to close this page. Okay, and whenever we close a tag, and there we go, it just did it for us. So it's so smart, it can do it for us. So let's see what happens when we change this. Well, let's refresh. Okay, hold on for 1 minute. Okay, I had a little something wrong in my code, but you can see I put in heading 1, closed my heading 1. Now, what happens here when we do that with heading 1, this is what it looks like, okay? It becomes larger, okay? Now, let's change, this is the body of my page. Okay, let's change this one around, and we can take a look, and we can come down, and on our properties panel, if we highlight this, okay, we can see what format do we want. So we could say, we want this to be heading 2. We can see what heading 2 looks like. Heading 1, heading 2. So we can see as we go through heading 1 and heading 2 that we can actually come in and work on our properties panel to do this with the HTML, or we could go right into the code ourselves. But it's important to know Dreamweaver is WYSIWYG, and WYSIWYG is what you see is what you get. But we also, with that said, need to be able to understand what is going on with our code. So let's take a look, and we're in the properties panel. The properties panel is a very important panel as we work with Dreamweaver. We can see we can go from HTML to CSS, HTML to CSS. Now, we're going to focus in on HTML. Again, I have several videos on CSS on cascading style sheets. And so take a look at those. Okay. Now, whenever I hit return, I refresh, and you'll see in my code, this is my enter. But let's do another one. Let's go to our next heading. This is the body of my page. Click. I'm going to select it, and we see that it's automatically in the P in the paragraph tags, but let's make this one heading 3. Okay, and we can go down and we can see we have heading 4, heading 5, heading 6. And we can see that these are these predetermined sizes. Okay, so there we have it, a little overview of HTML, looking at just some very simple, basic coding. Now, an overview of what we just did to recap. What did I go over? We looked at code. First of all, we looked at how to create a site, how to organize our files in Dreamweaver. In Dreamweaver CS5, it's very similar in Dreamweaver CS4. From there, we looked at the code. We went to split view. Okay, and we can work just in design view if we want, but we can go to split view so we can see what's going on. When I work, I go back and forth from split to design. Work in split, just work in design. What we looked at is how this page actually looks in HTML. As we look at it in the code, we begin this first line, lines 1 and line 2 and line 3 are telling us what kind of document this is. This is what kind of, it's XHTML, okay? We can see this reference to www.w3.org, okay? Then from here we go into the head tag. Okay, again, the head tag, contains our title. And the head tag and the meta tags, we can also put content that will help with our Google searches. Okay, we can also see references to the code in the meta tags, but we'll get to that in a couple videos. We see our title. Okay, again, our title is what goes up in this section of our page. And as we're doing our searches, our title is what we see above our pages. Then we got into the body. We looked at creating a heading 1, a heading 2, a heading 3. We did this the first time just through writing it directly in the code. And we also looked at how we can use our properties panel to do this. Now, again, what we want to note about working with HTML and codes is that each code begins, most of them, now some of them don't, but most of them begin with an opening tag and a closing tag. Okay, our opening tag, we're working with our greater than and less than signs. We start with heading 1. This is the opening of heading 1. Here we see the type, then we see the close of heading 1. Okay, in the close, we have less than \h1 greater than. And there we have it. A little overview of how we work with on the web and work a little bit with HTML. Keep watching the videos. I will get more complex as the videos go along. Thanks for listening.